In the late 1800s, in the smoke-filled streets of Birmingham, England, a boy named Thomas Hale was born into the kind of poverty that crushes most people before they even grow up. His father was a blacksmith with scarred hands. His mother washed clothes for wealthy families who never bothered to remember her name. And their home was a cold wooden shack where the wind slipped through the walls and hunger slept beside them every night. But Thomas had something unusual in his eyes, a spark people often ignored. Every time he saw the rich men passing in their long coats and horse carriages, he whispered to himself, "One day I will rise too, not because fate allows it, but because I demand it." When Thomas turned 13, tragedy struck. His father died suddenly from years of inhaling smoke and ash in the furnace. The neighbors whispered that the boy's life was over before it even began. But Thomas did not break. He left school and searched for work in every alley and workshop. Many days he survived only on water. Sometimes he fainted from weakness, but no one cared. The poor were invisible. One freezing evening, as he sat alone on the steps of a factory, an old night guard approached him and said, "Son, your eyes are not the eyes of a quitter. Don't let this world crush your spirit." Those words became the fire inside him. Thomas finally found work in a small metal workshop. The pay was meager, the conditions harsh, but he showed up before everyone and left after everyone. He studied machines with an obsession that confused the older workers. They laughed at him, telling him he would die poor like everyone else in the slums. But Thomas simply smiled because he knew he wasn't chasing comfort. He was chasing a future. Pain, he believed, builds men. Comfort destroys them. At 17, Thomas had mastered every machine in the workshop, but something bigger stirred inside him. He wanted to invent something of his own. Every night, after 12 hours of physical exhaustion, he went to a scrap yard, collected broken gears and metal pieces, and carried them home. Under the dim glow of a candle, he worked until his hands bled. He failed hundreds of times, burned his fingers, cut his palms, and tore his clothes, but he kept going. Failure did not scare him. Quitting did. Then one night everything changed. The gears clicked smoothly, the wheel turned with perfect motion, and Thomas stared at his creation in disbelief. It was a portable cutting device, faster, safer, and more efficient than anything factories were using at the time. With trembling hands, he took it to a wealthy factory owner. The man laughed and said, "Boy, inventions are not for street rats." Thomas didn't argue. He simply replied, "Every giant was once a nobody." His breakthrough came unexpectedly. A traveling industrial merchant happened to visit the workshop and saw Thomas's device. After testing it, he stared at Thomas in shock. "Son," he said, "do you have any idea what you've built?" Thomas shook his head. The merchant smiled. A future. He invested money into Thomas's work and helped him open a small workshop. That workshop grew. Orders increased, and soon, Hale Engineering Co. became one of the fastest-growing mechanical companies in England. Within 10 years, Thomas went from wearing torn shoes to polished boots, from sleeping on a wooden floor to owning a mansion on the hill, from being ignored to being respected, from being poor to becoming one of the youngest self-made millionaires of his era. Yet he never forgot where he came from. One day, he returned to his old neighborhood. The houses were still broken, the streets still cold, but he walked straight to the factory steps where he once sat hopeless and alone. The same old night guard, now weak and trembling, recognized him. You're Thomas. he whispered. Thomas took the old man's hands and said, "You were the first person who saw strength in me. I owe you more than you know." With tears in his eyes, the old man shook his head and replied, "No, son, you did it yourself." Thomas Hale's life became a lesson told for generations. Greatness does not belong to the wealthy, the lucky, or the privileged. It belongs to the ones who rise when life punches them down. It belongs to the ones who work silently in the dark when no applause exists. It belongs to the ones who choose discipline over excuses, courage over fear, and belief over doubt. Thomas came from the dirt, yet he built a kingdom. He came from nothing, yet he became everything. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories inspired by Eric Bertrand Larssen.